Imagine for a moment that you're standing at the edge of a vast canyon. You shout a word, perhaps your name, and after a pause, you hear it echo back to you from the other side. That echo is not just a sound, it is a reflection of what you sent out. Now consider this: what if life itself works the same way? What if everything you declare about yourself, every I am you speak consciously or unconsciously, bounces back to shape your reality just like that echo in the canyon? You see, there is a forgotten power hidden in the most ordinary phrase we say every single day: I am. It's not merely a way to describe how we feel, it's a creative force that sculpts our inner world and ultimately the life around us. In his final lectures, Neville Goddard made a bold assertion that challenges both religious tradition and modern psychology. He said, "The I am within you is God." At first glance, this might seem poetic or mystical, perhaps even controversial. But let's pause and look deeper. Neuroscience now confirms that our self-concept, the way we define ourselves, is one of the most powerful drivers of behavior and perception. The medial prefrontal cortex, a part of your brain associated with identity and self-referential thinking, lights up every time you describe yourself, especially when using the phrase I am. Whether you say, "I am tired" or "I am content," your brain immediately begins scanning for evidence to support that declaration. This isn't mysticism, it's biology. Now combine that with philosophy, with theology, with something deeper than synapses and blood vessels. In the book of Exodus, when Moses asks God for his name, the reply is simple yet cosmic: I am that I am. No qualifications, no embellishments, just being itself. Fast forward to modern psychology, and you'll find something similar in cognitive behavioral therapy, where changing your core self-talk is foundational for healing depression, anxiety, and trauma. This convergence between science and spirituality points to a singular truth: your identity and the words you speak about it determine your experience of reality. Yet here's where it gets practical. Many of us, especially as we age, unconsciously speak ourselves into limitation. We say, "I am too old to change," "I am forgetful," or "I am not like I used to be." These statements seem harmless, even honest. But they are powerful instructions not only to your brain, but to your body and your future. A 2022 study published in Nature Aging revealed that seniors who held positive beliefs about aging lived on average 7.5 years longer than those who held negative beliefs, even when controlling for health and socioeconomic status. That's not magic. That's mindset, biology, and belief working in harmony. So what do we do with this power? We become aware of it. The first step is noticing the phrases that follow your I am. Treat them like seeds. Would you plant a weed in a garden you love? Then stop planting "I am tired," "I am unlucky," or "I am stuck." Begin instead with neutral observation. When you catch yourself saying something limiting, pause. Take a breath. Ask, is this who I am, or is this just a temporary experience? Replace it with a truth that uplifts and aligns with who you wish to become. Instead of "I am forgetful," say, "I am learning to trust my mind again." Instead of "I am old," say, "I am seasoned and I carry decades of wisdom." These aren't fantasies. These are affirmations rooted in neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself until the day you take your last breath. You've spent a lifetime accumulating knowledge, experiences, joys, and hardships. You've shaped families, careers, communities. What would happen if you began to speak to yourself not as someone nearing the end, but as someone carrying the sacred fire of presence? That's not denial. It's spiritual and psychological truth. Who you say you are is not just about today, it's about the reality you build tomorrow. So I invite you to begin today with this simple shift: become conscious of your I am. Speak it aloud each morning. Sit in stillness, even if only for 1 minute, and declare softly, I am. No need to add anything. Let the words ring out into the canyon of your being. Listen for the echo. Feel the presence that answers back. It's not outside you. It never was. It's within, waiting for you to remember. And when you remember, the world, like that canyon, will echo back with new life. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a lighthouse standing alone on the edge of a dark and stormy shore. The waves crash violently around it, the wind howls without mercy, but the light keeps shining, unwavering, steady, and true. That light is your awareness, the unshakable truth of who you are beneath all confusion, pain, and misbelief. Yet most of us spend our lives staring at the storm, not realizing the light has always been within us. We were taught from childhood that God is distant, somewhere above the clouds, listening from afar, sometimes answering prayers, sometimes not. We were told to reach outside ourselves for divine help, to look up when we are broken, to wait, to hope, to plead. But what if this entire framework, though well-meaning, is the very reason so many prayers go unanswered and so many dreams remain unfulfilled? In Neville Goddard's final teachings, he offered a revelation so direct that it shook even his most devoted students. He said the distance between you and God is an illusion, a mental fog that clouds the truth. Science, too, now supports this idea in unexpected ways. In recent studies on perception and neurotheology, the study of how belief impacts the brain, researchers at the University of Pennsylvania used functional MRI scans to study people engaged in deep spiritual practice. They discovered that when individuals feel connected to God, the areas of the brain associated with self-other distinction begin to quiet down. In simple terms, the experience of oneness is not only spiritual, it's neurological. You literally stop perceiving yourself as separate. This aligns precisely with Neville's core teaching that Christ in you is not a poetic idea but a biological and metaphysical truth. Not Christ above you. Not Christ near you. Christ in you. Yet most of us, particularly as we grow older, still carry the silent belief that God is far away. We say things like, if it's God's will, or I hope he hears me this time, and while those words might sound humble, they subtly reinforce the idea that we are alone until some greater force decides to intervene. But here is the transformative truth: the more you believe God is somewhere else, the more powerless you become. Because when you imagine God as separate, you also place healing, peace, and joy outside of yourself, somewhere in the future, somewhere conditional, somewhere unreachable. The result? You end up waiting. Waiting to feel whole. Waiting to be answered. Waiting for something to happen to you instead of through you. We must challenge this perception with both logic and lived experience. Take, for example, the well-documented placebo effect. When patients believe they are receiving real treatment, their bodies often heal even when they are unknowingly taking a sugar pill. This isn't delusion. It is the mind awakening the body's own intelligence. If belief alone can stimulate real, measurable healing, what else could belief unlock? What if believing that you and God are one, truly believing, could not only reshape your mindset but change the cellular response of your body, reduce stress hormones, regulate heart rate, and activate your immune system? The science is already pointing in this direction. A 2020 meta-analysis published in Frontiers in Psychology showed that individuals with a strong sense of spiritual connection had lower inflammation markers and significantly better outcomes in chronic illness recovery. So what does this mean for you right now at this stage of your life? It means you are not separate. You never were. The only separation is the one you were taught to imagine. And every time you say, I am, followed by something limiting, I am alone, I am broken, I am afraid, you are not just expressing a feeling, you are affirming a false identity. You are attaching the name of God to something that is not divine. It is time to take your power back by remembering the truth you've always carried. You are not reaching for God. You are remembering God. And the moment you say, I am, with awareness, even in silence, even in doubt, you are turning the lighthouse back on. You are reactivating the original connection. You are stepping out of waiting and into presence. If you want a simple, actionable practice, begin each day with this. Sit quietly for just 2 minutes, breathe gently, and repeat inwardly, I am. Nothing more. Not, I am strong, or I am happy, just, I am. Let it be a return, not an effort. A remembering, not a performance. Let the silence carry the weight. And when your mind tries to distract you with old thoughts, fears, aches, worries, just smile and return to the stillness. Because that stillness is not empty. It is everything. It is God in you, as you, waiting for no one, needing no proof, simply being. And as you go about your day, carry this awareness like a sacred lantern in your chest. Let every step, every word, every choice flow from the place of wholeness. You do not need to be fixed. You need only to stop pretending you are broken. When you speak, let your words reflect the truth, not, I hope I will be, but I am. That simple shift is not just philosophy. It is the doorway back to the life you were always meant to live. Picture yourself standing in a quiet chapel, empty and still, with sunlight streaming through stained glass windows and dust gently dancing in the golden beams. There's no music, no sermon, no voice echoing from a pulpit, only silence, deep and steady. Now imagine whispering 2 words into that silence, I am. No additions. No explanations. Just I am. In that moment, something remarkable happens. You are not asking, performing, or trying to become anything. You are simply returning to yourself. This return is the beginning of real power. And it's not just spiritual poetry. Neuroscience tells us that when we engage in intentional, quiet self-awareness, our brain enters what's known as the default mode network, the same network activated during deep meditation and moments of profound insight. Functional MRI studies show that this state reduces activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center, while increasing activity in the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for wisdom, compassion, and long-term vision. So when Neville Goddard told us to sit in stillness and declare, "I am," with no adornment, he wasn't offering vague mysticism. He was pointing us toward a neurological and spiritual reset button that calms the storm and awakens the self. For those of us in our later years, we often carry decades of noise, thoughts, regrets, labels, diagnoses, and definitions layered onto us by the world and by time. We might say, "I am retired," or "I am slowing down," or even, "I am not who I used to be." But here's the truth, simple and radiant: before you were any of those things, before the job, before the title, before the illness, you existed. You were consciousness itself. That I am still lives in you untouched. To reconnect with it is not about changing your personality or fixing your flaws. It is about pausing the outer story long enough to feel what was always true beneath it. And there's evidence that the stillness isn't just beneficial, it's transformative. In a groundbreaking 2016 study at Harvard, older adults who practiced mindfulness-based awareness for just 15 minutes a day showed improvements in memory, reduced stress levels, and increased gray matter density in areas associated with emotional regulation and cognitive resilience. This is not about wishful thinking. This is the mind healing the body through presence. So how do you begin this in practical terms? Find a quiet space in your home, a chair by the window, a spot in the garden, the side of your bed. Sit with your spine gently upright, feet on the ground, and hands relaxed. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath, not to change it, just to notice. After a few breaths, softly say inside yourself, "I am." Do not follow it with anything. Not, "I am strong," not, "I am ready," just, "I am." Then wait. Let the echo fill you like the silence after a bell has rung. Thoughts will come. That's natural. But don't chase them. Let them pass like clouds and return again to "I am." You are not saying it to become something new. You are saying it to remember what never changed. This practice, repeated daily, even for 5 minutes, trains your nervous system to stop reacting and start responding. It restores you to the present moment where fear dissolves and clarity returns. Now consider this: the great mystics and scientists of history, from Jesus to Einstein, all pointed toward the same paradox, that true power is found not in effort but in awareness. Jesus said, "The kingdom of God is within you." Einstein said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift." Both understood that stillness is not emptiness. It is the soil in which new life grows. So if you feel restless or lost or uncertain about your next chapter in life, do not fill the silence with more noise. Instead, sit quietly and let "I am" guide you. Let it be your compass, your anchor, your returning point. This is not about escaping life. It's about entering it more fully. You have nothing to prove. You have already lived through so much. Now is the time not to build more walls of identity, but to peel them back and rediscover the light that has been glowing at your center all along. Speak "I am" not to get anything but to awaken everything. And as you walk back into your day, making breakfast, taking a stroll, or simply watching the birds at your window, carry that awareness with you like a quiet fire. Let it color your thoughts, soften your words, and steady your step. Because in that simple, still phrase lives the greatest truth of all: you are. And that is enough. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and deciding, not hoping, that what you claimed in silence is already real. No more asking, no more waiting, no more looking for signs. Just knowing. That shift from wishing to walking is where true transformation begins. It may sound subtle, but it is the line between the life you long for and the life you live. When you say, "I am healed," or "I am peace," and then step into your day like those words are already rooted in reality, you align your thoughts, your body, and your actions with a deeper truth. This is not denial. This is spiritual authority in motion. And yes, there is scientific weight behind this. A study from Columbia University found that people who adopted what psychologists call an embodied mindset experienced significantly improved outcomes in health, confidence, and decision-making. Their belief wasn't passive. It was active. They didn't wait for proof to start behaving differently. They behaved differently, and the proof followed. Neville Goddard put it simply: God became man that man may become God. It's not about ego. It's about understanding that when you speak "I am" and truly mean it, you are no longer a beggar hoping for grace. You become the vessel through which grace flows. And that requires a new way of walking through your world. Imagine someone who has declared "I am abundance." That person doesn't obsessively check their bank account every hour. They don't speak in lack or fear. They move with quiet confidence. They give generously. They trust the unseen to become seen. This isn't just a mindset shift. It's a biological one. When you act as if what you desire has already come, you activate a mechanism in your brain called the reticular activating system. This filter begins scanning your environment for alignment with your belief. Suddenly, you start noticing opportunities you used to miss. You meet people who mirror your new self-concept. You move from reaction to creation. And what does that look like for someone over 65? It looks like refusing to let the world tell you your best days are behind you. It looks like waking up and declaring, I am purpose, then showing up for your family, your friends, your community with intention. It looks like moving through your home, your neighborhood, your day with the calm dignity of someone who knows they are part of something eternal. You don't need to prove anything. You've earned your wisdom. Now it's time to walk in it. You may not feel strong every day. You may still have pain or doubts. That's okay. This practice isn't about pretending. It's about loyalty to the truth that lies underneath the surface of what's happening. Start small. After your morning quiet time, after sitting in stillness with I am, pick one truth you want to live into. Say it out loud. Let it settle into your bones. Then carry it into the ordinary rhythms of your life. If you chose I am health, then nourish your body as if it's sacred. Take a walk as if your legs are being strengthened by divine power. Smile at a stranger like you are a carrier of light. These are not tricks. They are the simple, tangible ways we bring spirit into form. And the beauty of it is this, no matter your age, your body still responds to intention. Research from the Mayo Clinic shows that people who maintain a sense of purpose in later life have lower rates of Alzheimer's disease, better heart health, and longer life expectancy. Why? Because belief is not just a feeling. It is a fuel. So let this be your practice. Speak the truth, feel the truth, and then walk like it's already true. Not with arrogance, but with reverence. Not with force, but with faith. Faith not as a vague hope, but as Neville described it, loyalty to the unseen reality. As you go about your day, let that loyalty guide your posture, your words, your choices. Don't check the mirror to see if your body has changed. Don't refresh your bank account or look for signs in the sky. The sign is you. You are the evidence that something sacred is unfolding. And if you hold fast to that, if you live from that space, your outer world will begin to catch up with your inner knowing. Not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned with it. Walk in that truth. Begin now. In every journey when the learning must become living, when the insight must become embodiment. You have sat in silence, spoken I am into the stillness, and chosen to walk as if what you declared was already true. But now, in this final and perhaps most sacred step, you are invited not just to say the words or act the part, but to become the truth itself. This is the moment when the word becomes flesh. Not metaphorically, but literally as your choices, your posture, your presence, your being. And though it may sound lofty, it is the most grounded, practical thing in the world. When you embody what you've declared, you begin to reshape the invisible environment around you. Science confirms that the electromagnetic field generated by the human heart changes in coherence when we enter states of gratitude, love, and alignment. A 2021 study published in the Journal of Neurocardiology demonstrated that individuals who consistently practiced embodied gratitude experienced more harmonious heart rate variability and lower cortisol levels, which is linked to reduced inflammation and increased longevity. What this means for you is simple but profound. The inner state you choose does not stay locked inside you. It radiates, organizes, and influences the world you touch. So when you speak, I am peace, and then carry yourself with calm through a stressful moment, your nervous system is not only being rewired, it is training others through resonance. Your spouse, your children, even strangers at the grocery store begin to feel the change, often without even knowing why. This is the ripple effect of embodiment. Your being speaks louder than your words. And this is where the deepest power lies, not in convincing the world of who you are, but in silently being it, without apology, without performance, without needing external validation. From a philosophical lens, this echoes the Stoic idea of living in accordance with nature. And from a neurological lens, it reflects the principle of Hebbian learning: neurons that fire together, wire together. If you consistently think and act from the reality you've chosen, your brain reconfigures itself to support that reality. Neural pathways strengthen. Emotional responses stabilize. Habits shift at the level of identity, not discipline. You may wonder, how do I sustain this when life feels heavy or uncertain? The answer is simple. Keep returning. When doubt creeps in, return to I am. When fear surfaces, return to the breath. When the world tells you to shrink, stand taller in the awareness of your oneness with life itself. You are not meant to be fearless, but to be faithful. Faithful not in some distant promise, but in the present truth already blooming within you. And yes, there will be days when the old thoughts try to reclaim their place. But now you know better. Now you know that every word that follows I am is a seed, and you are the soil. Tend to it. Water it with stillness, with compassion, with action. Let your daily life become your living temple. When you prepare your breakfast, do it with presence. When you greet a neighbor, greet them from wholeness. When you walk down your street or sit by the fire at night, let your very breath affirm that you are not separate from the divine. You are its expression. You are the unfolding of something ancient and eternal that chose this very moment, this very body, this very life to speak itself into the world. And so, do not wait for the world to change before you believe it has. Instead, carry yourself as the evidence that change has already come. Be the calm in the conversation. Be the clarity in the chaos. Be the strength that no longer needs to raise its voice. This is not pretending. This is remembering. And the more you remember, the more the world around you will begin to echo that memory back. You may be in your later years, but that does not mean you are in decline. In fact, science continues to reveal that the brain is plastic until the end. Purpose, belief, and presence are not limited by age. On the contrary, they deepen with time. You are not winding down. You are settling into essence. So I invite you now, not just to say I am, and not just to act from it, but to walk each step with the awareness that God is not only with you, but moving through you. Let that truth soften your breath, steady your heart, and lift your gaze. And as you move forward, let your life itself be the message not spoken in sermons or shouted on rooftops, but written quietly in every breath you take and every choice you make. Let the word become flesh in you. Let it walk. Let it live. Let it lead.